What do you do when the dream you held in your hands shatters? When the thing you prayed for, worked for, bled for, slips through your fingers like dust? Some people bury those broken pieces and call it the end. But I came to tell you today, broken dreams are not dead dreams. They can rise, they can be redeemed, and they can carry you higher than you ever imagined. Acknowledging the pain of broken dreams is the first and often the hardest step in redeeming them. Every person carries a private story of ambition, hope, and longing that did not unfold the way they imagined. Sometimes it comes from a career path that collapsed after years of preparation. Other times from a relationship that once felt like destiny but ended in silence, or maybe from opportunities that never materialized despite hard work and prayer. In each case, the heart registers a deep ache. There is disappointment, sometimes anger, and often shame, because people feel they failed not only themselves, but also those who believed in them. This weight can become unbearable when ignored, because unacknowledged pain does not disappear, it festers. Admitting the heartbreak, speaking the grief aloud, and allowing tears to fall is not weakness, it is the beginning of healing. When dreams are broken, many try to bury their emotions beneath business, entertainment, or denial. They pretend it did not matter, that it was just a small detour. But deep inside, the wound lingers, creating a quiet bitterness that leaks into daily life. True redemption cannot begin until the pain is fully faced. Acknowledgement is like pulling a thorn out of the skin. It hurts in the moment, but it opens the way for true recovery. This is why moments of reflection, journaling, or prayer are so powerful. They provide the safe ground to name the loss and accept its reality. Without this step, people remain stuck in a cycle of repeating the same mistakes or carrying silent resentment toward life. Acknowledging pain also means refusing to measure it by comparison. Some will say, at least you still have your health, or at least you did not lose everything. While gratitude is important, it should not become a tool to silence grief. A dream is deeply personal, and when it breaks, the pain is valid, no matter how it looks to others. By allowing oneself to feel, people affirm their humanity. To pretend unshaken when life shatters something precious is to deny a piece of the soul. Real strength is not about appearing untouched. It is about admitting the blow and still choosing to rise. Another layer of acknowledging pain is recognizing the hidden shame attached to failure. Many avoid discussing broken dreams because they fear being judged as foolish, naive, or unworthy. But redemption requires honesty, and honesty begins with confession. Owning the disappointment out loud can free the heart from chains of secrecy. It is liberating to say, yes, I tried, and it did not work out. Yes, I loved, and it ended. Yes, I gave my all, and I lost. Once the truth is named, shame loses its grip. What was once a private prison becomes an open ground for transformation. Acknowledging pain is also about refusing to rewrite history with bitterness. Some, when dreams fail, begin to call their hopes childish or ridiculous. They speak with contempt about what once lit up their souls. But that contempt is a mask. The truth is that those dreams once carried meaning, and the disappointment of their collapse is real. Acknowledgement does not require pretending the dream was perfect or guaranteed. It simply requires admitting that it mattered. This honesty restores dignity to the journey because even a dream that breaks was a genuine attempt to live fully. The process of acknowledgement teaches empathy. Those who have faced the weight of their own losses are often gentler with others. They know how it feels to have a future fall apart, so they listen without quick fixes, without judgment. In this way, acknowledging pain is not only personal but communal. It expands the heart's capacity to understand the struggles of family, friends, and strangers. Brokenness creates a language that connects, and that connection can later become part of the redemption itself. Finally, acknowledging pain keeps the door open to hope. If someone denies their suffering, they also deny their longing, and when longing is suppressed, hope has no soil to grow. By saying, This hurts and it matters. People also say, my life is worth more than this ending. I still believe something greater can come. Pain, when acknowledged, becomes a witness to the value of the dream and the dignity of the dreamer. It becomes the first stone laid in the foundation of redemption, because only what is owned can be healed, and only what is faced can be transformed. The idea of the seed within the ruins teaches us that what looks like failure is not always the end, but can actually be the beginning of something new and even more profound. When a dream shatters, the first instinct is to see only destruction. The pieces are scattered, the plans are broken, and the future feels uncertain. Yet within those ruins lies a seed, something that could never have been planted without the collapse of the old. A seed is small, often overlooked, and hidden beneath the dirt, but given time, nourishment, and patience, it grows into something alive and lasting. Broken dreams work the same way. The ruin itself creates the soil for a different kind of growth, one that carries more wisdom, resilience, and depth than the first dream ever could. Every failure and disappointment plants something in the soul, even if at first it feels only like pain. That pain softens the ground of the heart, humbles pride, and awakens a new awareness of what really matters. A person who has never faced brokenness may chase illusions, thinking success is only about outward appearances or quick gratification. But when a dream falls apart, illusions crumble with it. In their place comes clarity about what endures. That clarity is the seed. It is the recognition that life's worth is not measured by the dream itself, but by who we become in pursuit of it. The ruins are not pleasant to sit in. They can feel heavy, messy, and hopeless. But when a seed is buried in the earth, it too is surrounded by darkness. The soil must cover it, press it down, and even break its shell before life can emerge. In the same way, broken dreams press us down and strip away the outer shell of pride, illusions, and superficial desires. This breaking is painful, but it is purposeful. It allows the true core of the dreamer to emerge, the part that carries endurance and authenticity. The seed within the ruins also shifts the perspective from loss to potential. Instead of asking, "Why did this happen to me?" the question becomes, what is trying to grow from this? That change of perspective is powerful because it prevents despair from taking over. Many of the greatest achievements in history grew out of ruined plans. Inventors who failed countless times eventually discovered breakthroughs that changed the world. Artists who faced rejection poured their pain into masterpieces that touched generations. Leaders who were defeated returned with a wisdom that shaped nations. In each case, the ruin did not destroy them. It planted something that could not have existed otherwise. Another dimension of the seed is that it rarely looks like the original dream. When a relationship ends, the seed might not be the return of that same love, but a deeper capacity to love someone new in a healthier way. When a career collapses, the seed might not be the restoration of the old job, but the discovery of a calling that brings true fulfillment. The ruin creates the space for a different vision, one aligned with growth rather than illusion. Recognizing this truth requires humility, because it means letting go of the old picture and embracing the mystery of what might grow. The seed within the ruins also teaches patience. A seed does not sprout overnight. It requires time, care, and seasons of waiting. After a dream breaks, the temptation is to demand quick answers or to rebuild too fast. But rushing often crushes the fragile beginnings of new growth. Redemption requires trust in the process, even when nothing seems to be happening. Just as a farmer cannot see roots spreading beneath the soil, the dreamer cannot always see how their pain is shaping resilience, wisdom, and new opportunities. Faith becomes essential because it holds on to the unseen potential until it appears. Lastly, the seed in the ruins represents hope. No matter how total the destruction feels, there is always something that can rise from it. The ashes of failure contain nutrients for the next season. The heartbreak of loss can awaken a deeper appreciation for love. The collapse of a dream can redirect life toward a calling that carries greater meaning. This is not about romanticizing pain, but about recognizing its hidden purpose. When ruins are seen not as dead ends but as fertile soil, then broken dreams become the birthplace of renewed life. Broken dreams often arrive as uninvited teachers, and though their lessons are costly, they are among the most valuable a person will ever receive. To learn from the fracture is to see the break not simply as devastation, but as instruction, a sharpening of the soul that prepares one for greater things. Every fracture reveals something about the dream itself, about the dreamer, and about the path ahead. When people pause long enough to reflect on what went wrong, on what was gained even in loss, they discover wisdom that no success could have ever taught. This is the paradox: brokenness teaches what triumph never can. One of the first lessons in the fracture is humility. A dream, when held tightly, can sometimes swell into pride. People begin to see it as the source of their worth, as the thing that will prove their greatness. When it breaks, the illusion of control shatters with it. Humility rushes in, reminding the dreamer that life is bigger than their own plans. This humility is not defeat, but liberation, because it frees the heart from the crushing pressure of self-importance. A person who has learned humility through brokenness often becomes gentler, more open to collaboration, and more attuned to the needs of others. The fracture also teaches clarity. Often, the first dream is clouded by desires that were never truly ours, shaped instead by societal expectations, family pressures, or shallow cravings for status. When the dream falls apart, the noise clears, and the dreamer is forced to ask, was this really what I wanted? Or was it only what I thought I should want? Many people discover, in hindsight, that their broken dream was never their true calling. The fracture stripped away the falsehood and left them face to face with their genuine desires. That clarity can be painful, but it is a gift because it redirects energy toward what matters most. Another lesson that emerges is resilience. No one understands their own strength until they are pushed to the edge. Broken dreams force people into places they never thought they could endure: loneliness, financial strain, disappointment, or public failure. Yet as they walk through the shadows, they begin to notice something extraordinary: they are still standing. The fracture exposes reserves of endurance that were hidden beneath comfort. Once someone discovers this inner strength, it cannot be taken away. It becomes a permanent resource for the future, equipping them to face even greater challenges with steady hearts. Learning from the fracture also requires honesty. Some dreams fail because of external circumstances, but many crumble because of mistakes we made along the way. Perhaps pride blinded us to warnings, or fear kept us from acting boldly, or neglect allowed opportunities to wither. To learn from the fracture, we must face these truths without self-condemnation, but with sober reflection. Failure can either become a grave or a classroom. Those who treat it as a classroom take notes, adjust, and refuse to repeat the same errors. This honesty builds character, and character is far more valuable than the temporary success of an untested dream. The fracture teaches gratitude as well. When everything falls apart, the simple blessings become brighter. A friend's encouragement, a stranger's kindness, the strength to wake up and try again. These small things become lifelines. Gratitude shifts focus away from what was lost to what still remains. It nourishes the spirit, preventing bitterness from taking root. Those who cultivate gratitude in seasons of fracture carry it into seasons of abundance, and this gratitude becomes a steady anchor when new storms come. Perhaps the deepest lesson of the fracture is empathy. A person who has never been broken may struggle to understand the pain of others, but one who has walked through shattered dreams knows the language of loss, the silence of loneliness, and the ache of disappointment. This empathy allows them to sit with others in their pain without judgment or quick solutions. They become a source of comfort, not because they can fix everything, but because they know what it means to endure. Empathy born from fracture creates community, knitting people together in shared humanity. In the end, learning from the fracture transforms pain into wisdom and wisdom into strength. A broken dream is not wasted when it teaches the dreamer how to live with humility, clarity, resilience, honesty, gratitude, and empathy. These are treasures no one can steal, and they prepare the heart for new beginnings that are richer, deeper, and more enduring than anything imagined before the break. Rebuilding with purpose after a broken dream is not about trying to glue the shattered pieces back together into their original form, but about allowing something new and stronger to emerge from the ruins. Many people, when they experience the collapse of what they once cherished, waste years trying to recreate the past exactly as it was. They chase after the same relationships, force the same career paths, or cling desperately to old plans, hoping that with enough effort the cracks will disappear. But the truth is, once something has broken in that way, it will never be the same again, and that is not a curse. It is an invitation. The invitation is to build a new, but this time with a deeper sense of meaning, clarity, and direction. Rebuilding with purpose begins with the willingness to let go of nostalgia. Nostalgia has a way of painting the past in colors brighter than they were in reality, convincing people that if they could only return to what they once had, everything would be perfect again. This longing often blinds them to the lessons of the fracture and keeps them tied to a version of themselves that no longer exists. To rebuild with purpose, one must accept that the person who held the old dream has changed. The experiences of loss, disappointment, and growth have shaped a new identity, and this new self cannot thrive by simply reliving yesterday. The past becomes a foundation, but it cannot be the blueprint. Purposeful rebuilding is also marked by intention. A person does not stumble into redemption by accident. They must choose deliberately to examine their values, to reflect on what matters most now, and to align their new pursuits with those truths. For example, someone who once pursued success for recognition may, after losing that dream, realize that what truly matters is creating work that benefits others. When they rebuild, they do not just chase status, they build with the intention of serving a greater good. Purpose transforms ambition from self-centered striving into meaningful direction. Rebuilding with purpose also requires vision. After a collapse, it can be tempting to live small to avoid risk and to protect oneself from further disappointment. But purpose does not shrink, it expands. Vision allows a person to look beyond the ruins and imagine possibilities that did not exist before. Vision is not about copying the old dream. It is about allowing the lessons of brokenness to inspire new creativity. For instance, someone who lost one career might discover an entirely different field that uses the same talents in a fresh way. A broken relationship might lead to self-discovery that prepares the heart for a deeper and healthier love. Vision pulls the eyes forward instead of backward. Another essential part of rebuilding with purpose is patience. New foundations take time to set. People often want quick redemption to erase the pain of loss with immediate success. But rushing leads to unstable structures that collapse again. Patience allows for steady progress, careful decision-making, and the slow growth of something that lasts. Purposeful rebuilding values depth over speed, knowing that true transformation cannot be microwaved. Just as a tree planted in deep soil takes years to grow strong roots, so too does a life rebuilt with intention take time to anchor itself. Rebuilding also requires courage. The fear of another fracture can be paralyzing. Many stop themselves from trying again because they cannot bear the thought of another loss. But courage does not mean the absence of fear. It means moving forward in spite of it. Rebuilding with purpose involves the bravery to risk again, to open the heart again, and to step into unknown territory without guarantees. This courage is fueled by the belief that the lessons learned from the first break have equipped the dreamer to build better this time. Finally, rebuilding with purpose creates impact beyond the individual. When someone rises from brokenness and reconstructs their life with intention, They do not only redeem their own story, they inspire others who are still sitting in ruins. Their life becomes a testimony that new beginnings are possible, that failure is not final, and that even shattered dreams can lead to a greater destiny. Purposeful rebuilding is contagious, sparking hope in anyone who witnesses it. The strength to rise again spreads like light into the lives of others who thought their story was over. Faith and resilience are the fuel that carry a person from the ashes of broken dreams into the dawn of new possibilities. When life tears apart what you thought was certain, when plans collapse and nothing seems to make sense, it is faith that whispers there is still a reason to stand, and resilience that gives you the strength to do it. Without these two forces working together, the ruins of disappointment can easily become a permanent dwelling place. But with them, the ruins are transformed into the foundation of redemption. Faith and resilience do not erase the pain, but they empower you to endure it, outlast it, and eventually rise above it. Faith begins as a belief in something greater than yourself, a conviction that even when you cannot see the whole path, there is still meaning in the journey. Faith says that your story is not finished. That brokenness is not the final word. It allows you to lift your eyes above the immediate wreckage and trust that life still holds purpose. People who lose faith often become trapped in despair, convinced that nothing good can emerge from their suffering. But those who hold on to faith, even in its smallest form, are able to see glimmers of possibility in places where others see only endings. This perspective gives them courage to take the next step, even when the way forward looks uncertain. Resilience is the practical partner of faith. It is the muscle built through endurance, the inner toughness that allows you to keep moving despite obstacles. Resilience is not a trait that some are born with and others lack. It is developed through practice. Every time you fall and choose to rise, every time you are knocked down and decide to stand again, you are strengthening resilience. It is forged in the small daily choices to not give up, to show up even when weary, to keep your heart open even after it has been hurt. Over time, resilience becomes a habit, and that habit makes you unshakable. Faith and resilience are most powerful when combined. Faith provides the vision, the assurance that there is something worth pressing toward, while resilience provides the action, the stamina to keep pressing. Together, they form a cycle. Faith fuels resilience by giving it meaning, and resilience strengthens faith by proving that endurance brings results. This cycle allows people to endure far more than they ever thought possible. It is why some individuals emerge from devastating losses not only intact, but stronger, wiser, and more compassionate than before. There is also a transformative quality in faith that shifts how people interpret their broken dreams. Faith reframes failure not as punishment but as preparation. It allows people to see detours as redirections rather than dead ends. When faith takes root, resilience no longer feels like blind stubbornness, but like disciplined perseverance aimed at a greater goal. The heart learns to say, "This loss is shaping me, preparing me, equipping me for something beyond what I can currently understand." That perspective gives power to endure what once felt unbearable. Resilience, on the other hand, keeps faith from becoming passive. Faith without resilience risks turning into wishful thinking, a hope that never translates into action. Resilience grounds faith in daily choices, waking up again, trying again, refusing bitterness, practicing gratitude, moving one step forward, even if it is small. Resilience is the work of the hands and the discipline of the heart, while faith is the flame that lights the way. Without resilience, faith remains an idea. With resilience, faith becomes a lived reality. Broken dreams test both faith and resilience to their limits. In those darkest seasons, people often feel abandoned, powerless, and tempted to give in to despair. But it is in that very darkness that these qualities shine the brightest. Faith may look as simple as whispering a prayer when words fail. Resilience may look as small as getting out of bed when depression weighs heavy. Yet these small acts, repeated day after day, carve pathways toward restoration. Over time, they become evidence that broken dreams do not define the end of a life, but the beginning of a new chapter written with greater depth. When faith and resilience carry someone through the ruins, the outcome is not merely survival, but transformation. The person who emerges is not the same as the one who first carried the dream. They are stronger, more compassionate, more attuned to what matters. Their scars become symbols of endurance, and their life becomes a witness that brokenness can be redeemed. Faith and resilience do not guarantee that every dream will come back in the same form, but they ensure that no loss will ever be wasted. Every pain can be shaped into power, every ending into a new beginning, if one dares to believe and refuses to quit. As we stand here reflecting on the journey of broken dreams, one truth becomes crystal clear: no dream is ever truly lost, and no setback is ever final. Life may shatter what we hold dear, but within every fracture lies the seed of something greater waiting to grow. Pain teaches, ruins nurture, and brokenness refines the spirit. When we acknowledge the pain, learn from it, rebuild with purpose, and fuel ourselves with faith and resilience, we step into a life that is stronger, wiser, and more meaningful than before. The dreams that rise from ashes are not just restored. They are elevated, carrying within them the lessons, strength, and courage earned through adversity. So, to everyone listening today, know this: your broken dreams are not the end of your story. They are the beginning of a new chapter, one written with intention, hope, and the power to inspire. Embrace the journey, trust in the process, and rise from every setback with courage. Your future is waiting, and it is brighter than you can imagine. Good luck as you walk this path of redemption, and thank you for allowing me to share this message with you. Remember, what is broken today can become the foundation of your greatest triumph tomorrow.